Thank you for joining me today. I am so lucky and so blessed to be able to travel around this great country of ours and talk to managers, supervisors, leaders, executives, and individuals just like you. This allows me to get out and see the real state of our workforce in areas that across the board, not just nonprofit sectors, but the for-profit, manufacturing, restaurants, just about any industry you can think of. There's some major themes that have been coming up. So as I travel this week, I will be in Fargo, North Dakota. I will be in Bernier, Minnesota, and Bloomington, Minnesota. And I'm so excited because I get to give tips, tricks to first-time managers and supervisors for these 3 conferences. Now, one of the things that I've realized going across these different industries and talking to these different leaders is the lack of coaching that we do with our employees. So a coaching call isn't something that has to take an extended period of time, but it's something that lets your employee know things that they're doing well and things that they need to improve upon. Now, the problem that I found is a lot of times we don't want to tell our employees areas that they need to improve. Why? Well, most managers are afraid of the confrontation. They'd much rather have somebody come in, do a quick write-up, and get them out of the office. Well, what does that solve? Are you helping out your employee in any way at that point? Or can you get to them before it becomes a big enough issue to warrant a write-up? One of the things that I used to do is every week I'd sit down with all my employees, depending on how many you have at the time. But I'd sit down with my direct reports and we'd go over, hey, this is what you did well this week. X, Y, and Z, it was great. And I'd document that. And then I'd follow it up with, these are the areas I think you need to improve. I'm not saying you're being, anything way outside the box or anything that warrants any type of disciplinary action. But these are just areas I think you can improve on to become better, to hit the goals that you and I had discussed and established for you prior. And then we create action steps. I sit there and I ask them, how do you think we can turn those deficiencies into a strength for you? What do you think? Do you need more training? Because if so, I will make sure you get that training. We'll block off time to make sure you get the training you need to be successful. Because that individual being successful is going to make you more successful. But we don't think that as managers a lot of times, do we? We don't think about putting the extra time and effort into someone to make them more successful. But yet, we'll end up letting them go and we'll pay to train a whole new individual. Let's take the time and do these coaching calls and write it down. Get their buy-in, because what happens if they help create what their next steps are? They're more likely to help out. They're more likely to be engaged in those next steps. You're more likely to keep a key employee. Show your employees that you care for them just by taking a few minutes to let them know, hey, you're doing a great job. There's still areas you can improve, and we're going to work on that together. We're a team. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's when I expect it to improve by. But if you don't do those things, and if you don't invest that time into your employees, again, just a few minutes, well, then what happens? They don't feel valued. The only time you really interact with them is for a disciplinary action. And it creates an us versus them mentality between management and the employees. Why let it get that way? Why let it get to where most companies are right now, an average of 19% turnover, and that's just the average. I talked to somebody the other day who their mid to low-level employees have almost a 75 to 80% turnover rate. If your average entry-level employee at minimum wage costs $4,500 just for you to be able to replace them, imagine that extra cost. Why don't take the time to sit there and retrain an individual, or to train an individual the right way, the proper way, to coach them, to make them better. Save money in the long run. So this is your Leadership Minute. I'm Patrick Schuppler. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Call me, email me, doesn't matter. I am here for you to make you the leader you want to be, and more importantly, the leader that your employees deserve. Thank you very much.